Yeah.
What was wrong with it? Lots. I don't want to know. Good job, though. Holy man. That's going to help out big time.
Yeah.
How do you feel about running it now?
No problem, man.
Dude, get back in that thing. I'll load you up.
Rick Ness, just starting, finds $46,000 in gold. The music paused suddenly, plunging the air into a tense silence as the man spotted the still machinery and sensed trouble. Buzz gathered his team, understanding the urgent need to get the machinery running again. They needed the right parts and fast. What if fixing machines isn't just about keeping the wheels turning? What if it's a race against a hidden deadline? Join us as we dive into the gritty realities of mechanical failures and their unexpected consequences. A sudden breakdown halts operations. Moving closer, he examined the machinery with growing concern. His fears were confirmed when he discovered that a critical part had failed. The joint connecting the drive shaft had snapped. This was a serious issue, and the stakes were high. If Buzz, the mechanic on the job, couldn't repair it, the consequences could be dire, potentially costing him his position. This was a serious issue, and the stakes were high. If Buzz, the mechanic on the job, couldn't repair it, the consequences could be dire, potentially costing him his position. Buzz, recognizing the gravity of the situation, quickly set to work.
That drive shaft is not connected to the transmission, which means it's not connected to the rear end. It won't move, so we'll have to fix that. Need to put it back together. If we get the parts, hopefully we do.
He understood that the task required immediate attention, and once repaired, it would need a thorough check to ensure everything was back in place. The drive shaft had become completely disconnected from both the gearbox and the rear axle. It hung there, useless and unable to perform its vital function. Together with his colleague, Buzz began planning the repair. Reassembling the machinery was no small task and would require teamwork. But before they could begin, they needed to find the right replacement parts. He knew he couldn't do it alone, so he called in additional help, including the camp cook, to assist with the heavy lifting and precise work required. As they inspected the damage more closely, they uncovered the full extent of the problem. The U-bolts, essential components designed to secure the drive shaft and channel power from the engine to the wheels, were completely ruined. Without these bolts in place, there was no way to restore power to the wheels. The team set to work with determination, attempting to remove the damaged drive shaft. Their efforts, however, soon revealed another setback. The bolts had sheared off inside the machinery, compounding the problem. The drive shaft was a crucial part of the rock truck, responsible for transmitting power from the engine to the rear wheels. With 2 of the 4 U-bolts broken, the shaft was misaligned, rendering it powerless and ineffective.
These are busted U-bolts. They hold the drive shaft in, which takes the power from the motor to the tires and...
Despite these challenges, Buzz and his team remained focused on the task. They knew that the first step was to realign the drive shaft and then replace the shattered bolts. This would be the key to restoring power to the rear wheels and getting the truck back in operation. Just as they were making progress, a further complication arose. One of the bolts they encountered was not only wrong, but completely mismatched with the original specifications. The incorrect bolt had damaged the threads, creating yet another obstacle to overcome. Buzz took charge of fixing the error, meticulously rethreading the hole so that the proper bolts could be used. It was a frustrating realization. This entire situation could have been avoided if the correct bolt had been used from the start. Now hours were being spent correcting a problem that should have taken only minutes to address. With the end of the repair in sight, Buzz's confidence grew. The final steps were within reach, and the team prepared to complete the task. They carefully tightened and torqued down the last bolts, ensuring everything was secure. As they finished, a sense of accomplishment settled in, and the music began to rise again, signaling the completion of their hard work and the successful resolution of the problem. Thick, dark smoke filled the air as the generator malfunctioned, spilling its fumes into the surroundings. Tyson noticed the situation and quickly took charge of managing the growing crisis. The generator, nearly consumed by flames, seemed moments away from being completely destroyed, its vital function compromised. As the fire raged, everything powered by the generator came to a sudden halt. The damage was evident. One of the critical pipes leading directly into the generator's core was charred beyond recognition. This engine, the heart of the entire operation, had once spun tirelessly to generate power for all their equipment. Without it, they faced the harsh reality of having no way to run the machinery. The most troubling realization was that the generator's core was beyond repair. It wasn't a simple matter of cleaning it off or patching it up. They had no spare parts, no backups, and nothing to replace what was lost except for the generator still powering the main rig. Their resources were already stretched thin, leaving them without any extra equipment to salvage the situation. Mitch, taking on the responsibility of finding a solution, began making calls in a desperate attempt to locate a replacement generator. But despite his efforts, it became clear that their options were limited. No suitable replacement was available, and time was running out.
Yeah, they sheared the bolts right off.
Pull the rest of that drive shaft out if we can.
As the day dragged on, Mitch found himself struggling to focus on other tasks. His thoughts kept returning to the generator, the very lifeblood of their operation. He had tried every possible avenue, rental services, suppliers, but all reported the same thing. Nothing was available for weeks. The need was urgent, yet the options were non-existent. The true weight of the situation became apparent as the team realized they had only a few days of work left, perhaps 3, before they would be forced to halt everything. With no power, they were effectively stuck, unable to continue. There was no easy solution, no quick fix. Their best course of action now was to start dismantling the machinery and prepare for an early shutdown. The final blow came with the realization that the season was over, and their goal of surpassing last year's mining record was now completely out of reach. The dream of achieving something greater had been dashed by the failure of the generator, marking an unexpected and premature end to their efforts. The disappointment was palpable, but there was nothing more to be done. The season was over, and they had no choice but to accept it. The value of the gold in the Panama Canal is still a bit uncertain. Parker suggested we take a week to tackle the job, and we managed to get it done. But it's hard to just walk away from everything. Last week was truly unforgettable, filled with one challenge after another. The idea to use the Super Stalker was brilliant, even though it ended up barely hanging on, only to be let down by the generator. With the machinery humming back to life, the team looked ahead to the next hurdle, determined to keep pushing forward. A look at Yukon's gold rush. When it comes to the remaining gold in Panama, there's still a significant amount left that we have to leave behind. Right now, with only one wash plant running, it's going to have a noticeable impact on Parker's overall gold haul from the Yukon. We're currently falling short by over 1,700 ounces compared to last season's total, even though Big Red has been performing well, processing a lot of material. Just last week, Big Red pulled out 300 ounces of gold, which is worth over $600,000. Mitch mentioned that this season has been bittersweet for the Lucifer machine because it's out of commission. Despite that, Lucifer managed to collect 159 ounces from the canal. In less than a week, the canal has yielded nearly $1 million worth of gold, averaging about 5 ounces per hour, which is better than when we had 2 plants running. This cut is officially our most profitable one ever. Last week, we had a total of 568 ounces, but this week, it shot up to 928 ounces, bringing in over $1.5 million and pushing our Yukon total for the season to 7,489 ounces. Getting nearly 1,000 ounces in just 1 week is incredible. Even back in the early days when I was in charge of the plant, the biggest haul we ever had was 181 ounces, right here where our camp is now. Mining this area feels like it was a lifetime ago, yet it's amazing how quickly a decade can pass. It's both the best and a bit unfortunate time for Lucifer to break down, considering how rich the soil is here. We usually don't leave valuable dirt in the cuts, but with returns like 5 ounces an hour, it's crucial we get things back on track. Last season, Tony worked on 2 profitable projects, the 9-acre cold cut and the 6-acre blue cut, both aiming to reach the gold-rich white channel vein.
That thing pushes a nice load of dirt, you know? I might have to get one more, huh?
This year, Tony's plan is to dig into a small, half-acre piece of land between the 2 existing cuts and then expand further into the nearby hillside. His goal is to find more of the valuable white channel and eventually merge everything into one large 18-acre pit. To do this, Tony's team has gathered a strong lineup of machinery, including 10 trucks, 3 excavators, 2 bulldozers, and other necessary mining equipment. Even though they faced some challenges at the start, like not having all the drilling work done, Tony remains hopeful. He knows from experience that things can go either way, with both successes and setbacks possible. The job ahead is tough. Tony's crew needs to dig down 60 feet and remove over 4 million tons of dirt that doesn't contain gold just to reach the gold-bearing layer. Tony wants to have the first part of the deposit uncovered by the end of the week. But as they dig deeper into the hill, they hit frozen soil, which is hard and slow to dig through, adding more time and cost to the project. At one critical point, the extreme cold causes a major problem. The frozen ground, as hard as concrete, breaks a key part of their bulldozer called the ripper shank. This breakdown happens at the worst time, causing an expensive delay just when they need to be making the most progress during the short Arctic mining season. But the troubles don't stop there. Over at Paradise Hill, the rest of the Beats family is racing against time too. They're down a person while they wait for a crucial replacement part, a 1.3-ton ripper shank. With their chief mechanic away, Tony has to rely on the younger members of the team to get the machinery back up and running quickly.
There. Take it gentlemen. Okay, pin out. With your blade up and down a bit to keep the pressure on.
After a tense 3-day wait, the replacement part finally arrives. The team jumps into action, working closely under Tony's direction. They need to carefully secure the massive shank in place, a job that requires precision and teamwork. The family pulls together, adjusting equipment and aligning parts until everything is just right, showing their determination and skill even when faced with big challenges. The task seems simple at first, just deal with one pin. But when the crew tried to move it, the pin wouldn't budge. This led to some confusion as they tried to figure out why it was stuck. No matter what they did, the pin stayed firmly in place. The situation started to get tense, and it soon became clear that they needed a crowbar. Even when they switched to a different crowbar, it didn't help because there wasn't much room to work. Everything was so tightly packed that the parts didn't line up properly, making it impossible for the pin to go through. The D11 dozer ripper arm has a hydraulic system meant to push a pin through one of the holes in the shank to lock it in place. But this time, the hydraulic system wasn't strong enough to push the pin through. Tony decided on a simple approach. Take the pin out by hand, make sure the holes were lined up, and then hammer the pin back in until the hydraulics could secure it. As we prepare to navigate the uncertainties of the upcoming season, stay tuned to witness how we tackle these new challenges. Tony's day of surprises and successes. As Tony picked up the hammer, he warned everyone to keep their hands clear. He'd had accidents before. This job required care and accuracy because hitting the wrong spot could cause an injury. With one final swing, the pin was in place, and they considered the job done. Although they knew they might need to make some more adjustments as they kept working. But that wasn't the most exciting part of the day. In the middle of all this hard work, Tony got a call with good news about an amendment to their license. This change meant they could go back to the profitable grounds of Indian River. With this new opportunity, they were looking at possibly their best season yet. After many years of preparation and investing heavily in equipment, they were finally ready to take on the challenges of Indian River and uncover its hidden treasures. At 28 years old, Parker Snobble has taken a huge risk by putting almost everything he owns, $15 million, into buying a large mining claim at Dominion Creek. If all goes well, this gamble could pay off big with a potential return of $160 million from 8,000 ounces of gold. Excited to start digging up the gold quickly, Parker decides to expand an excavation site that was started by the previous claim holder. But this is a risky move, as he needs to continue the work smoothly to avoid turning the site into a giant, muddy mess. Any mistake could lead to major problems, especially with bad weather and delays already making things difficult. Parker's financial situation is tense, as his money is running out fast. He's spending a lot on the equipment, and workers needed to keep the project going. He feels the pressure to dig up 5,000 ounces of gold this year just to break even. The financial strain is intense, with daily expenses now higher than what he spent during his entire first season of mining with his grandfather at Big Nugget.
So let's just try to be safe, drive reasonable, think about, as I'm flying by this machine, if Parker's dog comes running out from behind it, can I stop in time? You wouldn't have.
This fact worries him deeply, making every day feel like a race against time, the rough terrain, and the weather. In a bold move to speed things up, Parker pushes his team to work even harder, aiming to prepare a large area of the claim for mining as quickly as possible. He drives his crew to work day and night, using every piece of heavy machinery they have to meet his ambitious goals. But this intense push comes with its own risks. The constant work puts a strain on both the machines and the workers, especially as the weather becomes more challenging. The chance of machinery breaking down is high, and if that happens, it could throw their efforts off track and deepen Parker's financial worries. As the mining season goes on, managing such a big operation becomes even more difficult. Veteran miner Damian Brown, driving a D10 bulldozer, has only 3 days to clear the next section of land. The team feels the pressure as they race against time and the forces of nature to reach the gold-rich ground below. But this isn't the worst part. Each day brings new challenges, but also a stronger resolve to push through and succeed no matter what. The task of loading the excess soil into the trucks was chaotic. The trucks struggled to gain traction, their wheels constantly spinning without grip, slipping and sliding across the muddy terrain. The newer worker, Jacob McClure, found it increasingly difficult to navigate as he hauled the unwanted earth from the excavation site to a distant disposal area. Time was not on their side, and Jacob doubted they could clear the area before the weather worsened. His anxiety grew as he worried that his vehicle might get stuck, his stress evident in his every move. Suddenly, a strange noise caught Jacob's attention, a sound that shouldn't have been there. Concerned, he checked his vehicle and discovered that his skid plates were dangling, dangerously close to the ground, with one bent out of shape. Realizing the urgency of the situation, Jacob knew this issue needed immediate attention.
It's been on the back of my mind that, or the front of my mind, I should say, that we didn't make it over here and get set up. You know, like you said, it's August now, and
The last thing they needed was a stick or debris jamming into the truck's undercarriage, potentially severing wires or damaging hydraulic lines, which would only add to their already heavy workload. Mitch, aware of the importance of keeping the trucks operational, quickly responded to Jacob's call. Together with mechanic Bill Horton, they faced the challenge of repairing Jacob's truck in the field without the proper tools. Improvisation was their only option. They decided to use the bucket of a 750 excavator to press the steel plate back into its original shape. After some effort, they managed to bend the plate back, securing it in place with new bolts. Satisfied with their makeshift repair, they put the truck back into operation, ready to tackle the tough, muddy landscape once more. Meanwhile, financial pressures continued to mount back at Dominion Creek. Parker's team faced a financial crisis with more money going out than coming in. Desperate for any form of income, gold recovery expert Chris Dumit devised a strategy to salvage gold from what was previously considered waste. While cleaning up the gold room, Chris discovered traces of gold in the tailings, the leftover dirt after gold extraction, typically deemed useless. Seeing a glimmer of hope, Chris planned to use a mini excavator to scoop up these tailings and reprocess them through his machines, hoping to recover some valuable gold. As the music swells, signaling a resolution, one question looms large. Did the use of improper parts indicate negligence or a deeper systemic issue? Like and subscribe for more intriguing stories.